The folks here at Fort Ticonderoga do an interesting thing with their interpretation of the site. Given that it flip-flopped several times between French and British control over the time that the site was used as a military use, they alternate years in how they interpret it. This year they're wrapping up their season representing 1758, that year of the attempted British attack and the fatal battle of Carillon for the British. Since there were a mile of these redoubts, breastworks, earthworks that the French threw up a half-mile in front of the fort in order to hold off that British force that was 4 times the size of them, they've done a nice recreation of these 18th century breastworks, fieldworks, siege works. This would have been used throughout the world in the 18th century, these sort of knitted piles of sticks and piled heaps of dirt, and then these like wicker basket looking things called gabions, which was basically just that, a huge wicker basket which would be woven together into a round like a round shape and then filled with dirt and rock and so on. It sort of created like a strong point, almost like taking on a almost like a stone-like amount of defense. Today, the similar kinds of things are even used in the world, although the modern ones are used with these metal cages, which soldiers in different parts of the world, I've seen them in Afghanistan in pictures, are filled with sand and rock. So it's an ancient piece of technology that's still used to this day. And just walking around, I'll go quickly around the outside of this thing to get you not just the French point of view on the inside. You also see, before I leave, these firing steps, and since you couldn't get double ranks of people firing on here, what they did was they would have their best person, the best shot, stand at the wall, and then another 5 to 6 guys standing in line behind them, and that person on the wall would shoot, be handed a reloaded gun, shoot again, and they would keep up that continuous sort of conveyor belt of like loading and firing for up to 6 hours at a time during the day before it got too dark to fight. So again, using old technology, locally sourced materials like dirt, twigs, brush, logs. And here's walking around what an attacker might have been looking at. This wider opening, of course, would have been used for an artillery piece, but charging up a hill against just a handful of men inside you could see how 4,000 Frenchmen could hold off almost 14,000 British in 1758.